Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to continue the teardown of this M96 engine from a 2003 Porsche Boxster. If you haven't been following along, I will put a link to the playlist in the description, and here's a link up here as well. But this is how far we have come. Today I want to try to disassemble some of the front console here and these pipes and get it fully prepped to split the case. So I guess I'll just start with the engine mount here. I'm not gonna separate this part. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the 4 bolts off that are holding it on, and these are 15 millimeter. These guys are torqued on nice and tight, but just using a wrench here. Could use a socket on the top too, but oh yeah, I guess I can get to all of them except for this one with the socket. Not sure if, now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure if this one will be able to come out all the way with this still on there, but let's find out. Well, crap, no shortcuts here. We're gonna have to take this off. All right, these guys also 15 millimeter. Need to counter hold it on the other side. Now I can get to these 4 bolts easily. Assume this is probably the original engine mount. Looks like it could use a new one. Oh geez, I just remembered and realized at the same time that I could have left that on and taken a shortcut, because those smart Germans were smart enough to put a little notch in here, so you can actually just go like that and tighten those up. So you don't have to remove those bolts at all, you just have to loosen them. All right, this guy here is a 13 millimeter. If I had a pin to lock this engine stand in place, I would do that, but it doesn't line up for me, so. All right, simple guy. Now I want to come over and remove all of this piping from here. So there's just a couple 10 millimeter bolts there, and up here where it comes into the block, it looks like there are 6 10 millimeter bolts. Just want to loosen them. Then remove them. So this bottom little pipe, the brackets for it go on top of this other one. Come off as a separate piece here. All right, I'm gonna try to keep all these bolts together. The 2 that came off of the side over here are shorter, and all the other ones are the same size. And it seems like I should be able to pop that off. Okay, and I think there's a gasket. Yep, there's a gasket that's stuck on here, so we'll need to replace that when reassembling. All right, time to take our water pump off here. And again, just a bunch of 10 millimeters. I'm just gonna break loose. And I think 2 of these are gonna be longer from what I recall, so pay attention when I remove them here. Yes, this one right here was longer. And the last one I took out over here in the corner was longer. So these are the 2 longer ones. All right, here's a good place to pry. Oh yeah. And our gasket kind of dissolved on here. So this one has the metal impellers. Everything looks really nice on it. no play, moves nicely. So I assume this was replaced at some point. So I'll probably keep this water pump and just redo the gasket here. Also, an easy way to remember the long bolts are, this one has like a little boss on it, and this one down here also does. Just sticks up to help you locate it on there. So those are the two that have the longer bolts. Now that I'm looking at this water pump a little closer, I can actually feel and kind of see like a little bit of scraping on these. And if you look closely at the water pump housing, I think it's pretty obvious that those metal impellers were starting to scrape and make some contact up here. So that's why everybody says do not use the metal impellers, because the plastic ones will just wear the plastic off and not shave metal pieces into your system. And of course, damage your block. So this isn't damaged beyond being able to use the block or anything. It just kind of started scraping off the surface here, so you can see that it is a different color. But if this went untreated for much longer, it definitely could have. All right, next thermostat down here, just another couple 10mm bolts around here. And we'll pop that off. Four. All four of these bolts are the same size. All right, so here's our thermostat and thermostat housing. And here is the metal gasket. Gonna replace that. All right, down here, I believe is our oil pressure relief valve, and it is a 17mm. So let me go ahead and remove this guy. So it seems some oil is going to come out. And the little spring came out. So this is the spring. It has a crush washer on it. And, oh, we got another part. And this guy just fell out. So these are the parts. I'm just gonna go store those. Next up is the oil pump housing. So our oil pump is right back here. We got two gears in there, and it is held on by, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish looking 10mm bolts. Ooh, that's a long one. That's another long one. All right, so we got two long ones from here and here, and all the rest are short. Let me find a good pry spot here. Ah, here it is. Right here is their pry spot. Oh, there's another pry spot up here too. Ah, okay. Sounds a little easier to get started. It's gonna come straight out, and you have two gears. This gear, if you can see, it has grooves in there for this hex pin that mates up with that hex pin. And this guy is just sitting in there. These gears look really, really good. So that's a good sign. Let's pull this out of here. All right, so you can't get this one mixed up because that end is flat. This end has the hex thing that goes in there. This gear, it looks almost symmetrical, but I think this shaft is a little bit shorter, and that's the end that went in here. And yeah, it makes the teeth flush with here. if you put it in that way. Let me see, if you put it in this way, well, I take it back, also flush. So maybe it's symmetrical and it's playing tricks on me. And just like our water pump, the ones that have the longer bolts have these bosses on here. So this is the inside of your oil pump, and in there, I believe, is the end of your intermediate shaft, the opposite end that has the bearing. So that is what turns your oil pump to pump oil up here through your engine. Now we could take this little elbow off here that has coolant running through it, I guess, with these 410 millimeters. And it's just this elbow and a gasket between them. So if I do take it off, I'd have to replace the gasket. I don't think I have to take it off though to remove the rest of this front console. So I'm just gonna leave it. And I think it is the same with this little squarish piece up top with these two 10 millimeters. Just gonna leave that for now. Here's that bracket that I didn't have on my earlier Boxster, where this hook just kind of goes around the belt and makes it a pain in the ass to take your belt off. So, yeah. All right, I think I'm ready to remove the front console now. Let's find out. Gonna start with this 15 millimeter bolt here. Then there's just a bunch of 10 millimeters around here. I'm gonna start loosening. These two hold that bracket. All right, all these bolts seem to be exactly the same. That's good. All right, there is a little pry spot right here, it looks like. Not much to pry against. Let's find a better one. Aha! All right here. A little movement here. Make sure I don't push against where our gasket goes. Starting to hear and see a little bit of separation. Yeah. So this is still sticking into our intermediate shaft. So I can twist it. Yeah, that's where it's attached in our intermediate shaft, so it's just friction. So I'm kind of rocking and pulling it towards me. Woohoo! Moving the whole engine. I think, from what I've seen, it will pull out. Oh, here we go. Let's get looser. Yeah, looser and looser. Just continuing to be gentle with it. All right. So yeah, this gasket was back there, so expect that to fall out. All right, let me show you what this is doing, if I can. From over here, you can see that is what is connecting these two pieces. So that part right there is part of our console, I believe. So I'm just gonna continue to work it out. Whew. All right, a little rest and continue. All right, let me pull this other gasket out that's back there. Feels like it's almost there, but I don't want to pry against this really because it's going to put some angle on that piece, and I don't want to damage it. All right, fine. I'll give a little pressure on it. Whew, something tells me there's a better way to do this, guys. Let me know. Oh, okay. See some separating now. It's getting harder. Here we go, it's coming. Okay. Yes, so that's what we pulled out. It's got some O-rings that obviously need to be replaced. So here's a close-up of what was in it. So that is the back side of the intermediate shaft. So you can see that it just rides around in here. So it's a fixed bearing or sealed bearing, or I don't know what they call that, but essentially that's the bearing. It doesn't move. It just holds this end of the intermediate shaft and it spins around it. So you can see that it's not centered anymore because that was actually supporting and holding up this end of the intermediate shaft. Oh, and for you following along at home, I got two of these little plastic drip trays. Just pushing them together underneath this stand, so it's doing a great job of catching all the extra oil and coolant that's falling out of this thing as I work on it. Over on this side, we have one more wire. It's going right into here, and it is just held on by one, looks like 10 millimeters. So I'm just gonna pull this thing off while we're over here. Looks like it's a hex. 5 millimeter, of course. And this is what's sticking through the inside here. Just gonna push it in and pull this guy out. There we go. All right, front of this is looking nice and clean. The top, we got two more big 13 millimeters that are holding these sensor connectors on. So just to finish up the top of this, I'm gonna go ahead and remove them. But I am gonna wanna clean this case, and I don't know what this is, but it's somehow electrical. So I'm going to remove it to keep it from getting destroyed when I clean this. So for me, remembering the clean one was on bank 1. Dirty one, bank 2. All right, I lied, we got one more 19 millimeter electrical looking connection here. So it's twisting wires. What is this thing? Oh. Okay, that's what he is. All right, I think that's a good place to stop, guys. Thanks for watching. Next episode, I'm gonna flip this thing upside down and remove the sump down here and the components in it. And then we will get to splitting this thing open. Hope you guys are liking these videos along the way, because it does help out my channel, so I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.